Apprentices at Crewe were nothing new to the workers. They would often see a young face fresh out of school, ready to start learning from the ground up. The young lot of 1893 were no exception, including 17-year-old Herbert, who had earned his apprenticeship following his unique knowledge on engines. The youngster showed promise, asking questions, and seemed eager to learn. He listened and even suggested ideas of his own. Later he would move to Horwich Works, where under the guidance of John Aspinall, he would learn the more intricate details of locomotive design. This also included working in the workshop's drawing room. Next, John prompted him to experience first-hand running. It's all well and good knowing how engines worked on paper, but in practice it's a whole other story. He wasn't ready to take on large yards, but the lines at Blackpool were perfect for a start. By the time the summer season came about, Herbert was an accomplished locomotive foreman. Of course, the engines were part of the story. There was carriages and wagons as well, so he endeavoured to understand them too. His training meant he was a highly skilled individual and a shoo-in for superintendent, a chance he got in 1911 on the Great Northern Railway when his predecessor retired. To the workers and his colleagues, they never used his first name when addressing him. His family name was more appropriate. And so, Sir Nigel Gresley found his calling, and when the railways merged in the mid-20s, he had the chance to change steam engine design forever. At the same time Sir Nigel took over, focus on the main line was the express. As more people took longer journeys, the demand for faster running grew. It wasn't just passengers, freight would also benefit, especially with perishable goods. So Nigel experimented with several locomotive designs, adjusting cylinder number, wheel arrangements and valve gear. From his designs came the class K3. These 260 three-cylinder engines premiered during the First World War and proved successful in moving freight for the war effort. In 1915, he started work on one of the most notable designs, the Pacifics. The A-class engines would be the GNR's and later LNER's premier thoroughbred class when it came to the mainline. So Nigel, though looking forward, would also look back. The K3 class had proved an excellent engine. However, they had a bit of a flaw at higher speeds. They were a bit of a rough ride. It was determined that this might have something to do with its smaller wheel size compared to other engines. So Sir Nigel took two engines out of service, gave them larger wheelbases, and also replaced the fixed tender with an articulated bogie tender. This hoped to solve the problem, and while it did create another. The larger wheels meant that the boiler stood taller as well, so to fix that, the boiler fittings were smaller and the chimney was cut down. This then created another problem. As the shorter chimney created a softer exhaust, the driver couldn't see through the smoke. The problem, though, was so persistent that the whole project was eventually scrapped, and there was only one solution: a whole new engine. On the 3rd of October 1934, Sir Nigel proposed his plan to the board. The class would be called the V2, and it would be very different to anything else designed. After being pushed back due to the completion of the A4 class, work soon began on these new engines. Unlike the A4, it did not inherit the Bugatti-inspired streamlining, but it did receive many of the A4 improvements as well as the best from the A1 and the A3. The largest improvement was, next to the boiler, the largest single part of the engine. In many designs, the triple cylinders would sit in the engine independently. However, in the V2s, all three cylinders would sit in a cast iron casing called a monoblock. These were not new, as the V1 and some pre-war engines carried them as well, but the V2 would be unique as the monoblock would also carry internal steam supply pipes as well. It wasn't a necessity, but in terms of design, it made the engine look a whole lot neater. The first engine to run off the production line was number 637. It was given the name Green Arrow. The engine was renumbered to 4771 and was sent to London's King's Cross station after 10 days of running in and testing running local services. On the 23rd of July, it started running the first leg of what the drivers dubbed as the Junior Scotsman, a semi-fast service to York. The V2 would take the engine from King's Cross to Grantham before returning later in the day with the Junior Scotsman's return journey. Green Arrow would quickly become a driver favourite. It proved itself as a versatile engine and handled both passenger runs and freight with ease. As time passed, Green Arrow would go further afield as far as Peterborough, and at one point was seen taking over 600 tonnes in a 47 wagon train, in some places reaching over 60 miles an hour with it. With 183 V2s on the line at the time of the war, the class became the workhorses of the line, and its ability to take huge train weights was turning heads. It wasn't uncommon for them to take 30 to 40 wagon loads at a time. During the nationalisation, Green Arrow would not only receive a new number, but a new livery as well. It was classed as 60800. Its new livery would denote its mixed traffic status, black with red lining, and it would resume work in London. In 1953, the engine was sent to Woodford Halse Depot to provide support after another class of engine was withdrawn temporarily due to an axle failure. It would be the only time the engine would ever be stabled away from King's Cross while in service. Even as the Powers proposed the move from steam to diesel, Green Arrow was already earmarked for preservation. While other V2s went through a programme of replacing the cast iron monoblock with steel, it was decided early on to keep the engine as original as possible. It was withdrawn on the 21st of August 1962 and was taken into care in the National Collection. Green Arrow was sent to Doncaster, where it was restored to its LNER condition. It was put into storage, waiting for a space to become available in a museum, but after King George was successful in its main Rhine rail tour, plans began to emerge to put Green Arrow back into steam. After an extensive overhaul on the 12th of August 1972, Green Arrow was brought back to life once again and ran a series of excursions primarily in the north, and was proudly in steam on the opening day of the National Railway Museum. Green Arrow again was a firm fan favourite, and just like its working life, nothing was too much for this engine. In 2008, while running out its boiler ticket at the North York Moors Railway, it suffered a boiler failure. An examination on the engine was ordered. While the boiler repairs would be remedied, a decision in the 1960s to not replace the monoblock would prove its Achilles heel. British Rail would automatically retire any V2 with cracks in the monoblock, and Green Arrow was no exception. The crack was well known, however it had been patched up several times and proved no problems in its running. However, time and wear had made the damage irreparable. A new monoblock would be needed, and it was exceptionally expensive as no other V2 or any other parts survive. Green Arrow would spend 6 years in Shildon, but in 2021 it was picked for a new destination, and for the first time since its withdrawal, it was going home. Danham Library is a truly unique place. Set around the Old Girls' School, this building comprises of a library community hub and 4 galleries showcasing Doncaster's greatest achievements. Alongside Locomotive 251, Green Arrow would sit pride of place surrounded by railway history, including a wall of past nameplates and railway books. The railway gallery sits in the building's heart, and as people travel upwards to the art gallery and museum, the large windows allow them to look down on the engines, giving a unique view. The engine was supposed to be only on loan for 3 years, however in 2026 she is still there, and there are no plans to move her. Green Arrow invokes a lot of memories, and enthusiasts do talk about re-steaming her. The work on the P2 monoblock does provide encouragement that a new casting can be done, but it would mean the removal of an original part of the engine that Gresley himself would have likely overseen and possibly worked on. This is the great conundrum with preserved steam engines. The enthusiast's dream is to see all engines steam again. However, the more overhauls they go through, the more original parts are replaced. It's the dilemma of conservationists when having to choose an engine to overhaul. Sometimes it's great, but other times they have to ask themselves, considering what they may lose, is it truly worth it?